You just sat down to take your test. You spent the whole time preparing for it, getting AI to make a summary of your entire chapter in the textbook, and you think you're ready. And then you realize with horror that the questions on the exam are not looking for facts, they're asking for analysis. They're testing your understanding. This is the AI illusion of competence, and it's why some students are failing despite their best tools that they're using. We're going to look at how you can use AI to your advantage and make sure that you get a good grade. When we talk about AIs, you probably heard of the concept of training the AI. And what does that really mean? Well, when AIs, and it doesn't matter which one it is, when they're actually training the AI, what they do is provide it with large quantities of data. This is written, audio, sometimes even graphical information. And the training process is assimilating all of this data and then seeing the different patterns of things that go together. So when we talk about generating answers from AI or using AI to prepare an answer for us, what it's actually doing, it's not learning or training in the sense that we're used to. It's actually pattern recognition because it can recognize different groups of words or images that tend to go together. And so it's not actually any kind of analysis. This is why generative AI can produce large volumes of written material for papers and questions. I see it a lot with discussion posts in my class. I can always recognize the AI posts because there's a whole bunch of students using it and all their answers are wrong to some degree in exactly the same way. They look the same. So the AI generates a lot of text material, but it's not drafting cohesive papers. See, when you sit down to write a paper, you have a theme in mind, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you draft your writing to follow that theme. And that's not the way that the AI generates materials. AI can just search through its vast trove of data and find information that kind of matches the prompt that you were asking about. Sometimes it's incorrect, like I said with the discussion posts that I see in my classes. Just because the word is used and it's used in relationship to other words doesn't mean that it makes sense in that particular context. AI is like a calculator for words, but just like a calculator, it's not going to help you if you don't know which formula to use. It's not going to help you understand the why behind the information. This is where your study habits and classroom participation becomes your secret weapon. In previous videos, I've talked about potential issues with AI. I recently made a video about some wonderful AI tools that you can use. Make sure you check that out. There's some really great ones that will save you a lot of time. But the key here is that it's you using the tools in the context of the information that you've already gathered from the classroom and from your notes. So you went to class, you know what the professor thinks is important. You need to take the lead in preparing. Here's our little pyramid representing levels of learning. Down here at the very basic level, there's our little AI tool. We have search terms. And as we move up the pyramid, we can get facts and summaries. And finally, up here, this is where you're going to be operating the understanding and analysis level. So you're going to be using the AI materials for tools. I use AI for some things. I've noticed that whatever particular bot that I use, it's always telling me how brilliant I am and what a fabulous idea it is that I've just proposed. Of course, I really like that. I've also noticed that all of those chatbots, after answering a prompt, will say something like, well, I can do this thing for you, or I can build a tool to do this thing. Would you like me to do that for you? I find it really helpful and motivational. So even when I just ask a question about some future project, it's all ready to go. And so that is great for motivation. I appreciate that. When I'm using the AI tools, notice that I have to start with my question or my idea, and I put that into the prompt. I have to refine it. The answers might be wrong, or maybe something is generated that I like a little bit, but it needs to be fixed. So I use the AI to help me with organization. And like I said, it's a great motivator because right after the answer, it's always, well, hey, let's go ahead and do this next thing. I can build something to help you with it. So I appreciate that. That's a great use for AI chatbots of whatever particular flavor you like best. I really like the AI tools that I presented in my previous video. Another great use is to draft practice questions, like making up sample tests to test your knowledge. And you can even refine it with, hey, my professor really likes this topic because that's where their research is focused. So let's make sure there's a bunch of questions about that. So that's another wonderful use. But you don't want to give up your control to the AI. Make sure you're still the one driving the bus, so to speak. It doesn't do the work as well as you do, and the resulting product, if it just comes from AI, lacks the human touch. Don't give up the learning opportunities that you have in your classes. Harness the AI to work for you. Remember to like and subscribe so that you can see my next video. And please feel free to drop in the comments any ideas for future videos. You can also check out my class about learning strategies integrated with mindfulness practices. I've put the link in the description for you.